Warning, this podcast may change the way you think about business, entrepreneurship, and money forever. The Conquistador Podcast was created for dreamers, entrepreneurs, and leaders who want to conquer their future. To be an epic entrepreneur, you must adopt the right mental paradigms as well as master the art of selling, marketing, and finance. Now, it's time to welcome two serial entrepreneurs, leaders, husbands, and fathers who are passionate about sharing the strategies that are helping them excel in life and in business. Here are Mauricio Garcia and Hubert Humphrey.
Well, hello, fellow entrepreneurs, fellow driven, determined dreamers out there. My name is Mauricio Garcia. I want to welcome you to the Conquistador Podcast. Another great podcast, great topic we've got today. And of course, as always, to make this a very valuable event, I've got with me my friend, my mentor, my partner, Mr. Hubert Humphrey. Hubert, how are you today?
I'm just all excited, ready to go.
Well, you know, one of the things I hear you mention all the time is aggressiveness. There's a lot of anecdote stories, things that you've shared in events, in private sessions, and in these big events that you put together. Talk about aggressiveness, how it is essential to build anything of significance. Why is that?
Well, it is. It's just that's. I think success and aggressiveness kind of are synonymous with each other. Mm-hmm. I tell the story a lot of times that many years ago I got in my possession. I've got a declassified copy of the Top Gun training manual that was actually used at the old Miramar where the Navy trained their Top Gun pilots. And as I looked in that manual, page after page, from beginning to end, there was one word that just kept jumping out: aggressiveness. And throughout it, it reminded you in the beginning and it reminded you at the end that without aggressiveness, all your other capabilities are useless. You got to have aggressiveness. Like a Top Gun pilot, you've got to make an aggressive vertical move. They have to learn to fight in the vertical. They have to have the stomach to engage the enemy. So that's what it means. Sometimes if you got all this fear inside of you, if you were in a combat or Top Gun pilot or you were a soldier or whatever, and you got to face that fear of the enemy. If you hadn't got the stomach for it, you're going to let that fear hold you back, you know. And you got to overcome that. The best way to face a fear, if you face a fear, it'll disappear. You got to face it. You got to go punch fear in the mouth and be aggressive. So aggressiveness is there's all kind of words that kind of relate to aggressiveness. There's words like like being persistent, but by being just going at it as hard as you can. I'm reminded of a great saying that I learned 40 years ago, and it's just been one of my favorites, and I'm sure some of people might have heard it before, but it's a kind of a consistent form of aggressiveness. It's about press on, and I'll just read it to you. It says, "Nothing in the world can take the place of persistence. Talent will not. Nothing is more common than unsuccessful men with talent, or than unsuccessful men with talent. So just talent wouldn't do it." He says, "Genius will not. Unrewarded genius is almost a proverb. Education alone will not do it. The whole world is full of educated derelicts. Persistence and determination alone are omnipotent." Mm-hmm. So you've got to have that determination and that persistence. And like you mentioned, driven, determined dreamers. That's another way of saying aggressive dreamers. Is what we're trying to say here. Right. That aggressiveness is. I saw some numbers many years ago. They were saying that in the U.S. Army, in the military, and they measured this during various combat times during wars. They said that during the war, that 95% of the soldiers who had a weapon never fired their weapon in combat. And that law of averages again. You better have a lot of soldiers out there. If only 5% of them are going to be firing a weapon, you better have a lot of high numbers, if you understand what I mean.
Yeah.
But it said the reason they didn't is that they didn't have that aggressiveness. And sometimes that aggressiveness, the reason why you don't have aggressiveness is that you don't have enough skill. You don't know your weapon. You don't understand the weapon. You've got this big fear of an enemy being bigger than you that you need to understand. And all these little things that caused them to indecision, and they were indecisive. Things caused them to hesitate. My whole philosophy has always been it's the old Marine Corps philosophy: kill them all and let God sort them out. Because if I was a soldier and I'm out there got a weapon and I see 4 or 5 enemy out there, and I say, they haven't shot at me yet, so I won't shoot at them. That'll get you killed.
Mm-hmm.
Or I don't know which one of them would shoot me. Well, that'll get you killed. So what you better do is you better shoot them all and let God figure that out down the road. Because you're at war. And I don't want to shoot anybody, don't want to kill anybody, don't want to fire no guns at anybody. I'm just trying to give a business principle of aggressiveness that you've got to do. You've got to go. That's why a system is so great. My weapon is the system. I just fire a system at them, and we're just going to recruit them all, let the system sort them out. Because the minute you start doing too much thinking, and analysis, paralysis of analysis, things like that, that's what holds people back from being aggressive. But you got to be aggressive. You got to attack.
I see. Is it something that you can develop, or is it something you're just born with? Is the being aggressive, which is an action taker, or how can somebody develop that aggressiveness?
I don't. Maybe some people are born with a little more aggressive personality than others, but I don't think that's what we're doing. This is an ability. If you ever hear me talking about something, I'm never going to talk to you about something to do with talent, because I'm not in the talent business. I'm in the ability business, the skill business. It can be learned. It can be taught. I can learn it. I can master it. I can teach it to other people. If it's not like that, I'm not involved in it, because the success that I'm talking about in life must come from lots of people being able to pick up a skill and learn it. If you want to change your personality where you're more enthusiastic, that's a skill. If you want to be a person that's more dynamic and you move around, it's a skill. It's a learned habit of it, a skill set that you can get to be aggressive.
Yeah, I guess what I was trying to say is there's some things can't be taught. You either catch them, while you're doing some things, you're taking action, and some things are easy.
But that's teaching you. So you're missing.
I'm just saying for people, obviously, because I just know that it's like how can you teach hunger? Can you teach how not to be fearful? I'm sure there's obviously
I can teach hunger.
Sure. I guess there's some things that are easier taught than others, right? Some things, but it is is a skill that can be learned. And so, if one of the main reasons a lot of the businesses fail is because of that lack of aggressiveness. So if we could teach that, if you could grab a magic wand and say, I'm gonna teach you how to be more aggressive, boom. And all of a sudden now we may change the numbers to have more entrepreneurs being successful.
It's just like changing any habit. If you got to incent people, you've got to. We're talking to people who are in business. Whatever dream you have, whatever reason you're in business, that's your reason to learn a new skill.
Right.
So if you're properly incented in life to be an entrepreneur, just say I want to be an entrepreneur is not good enough. But if you're going to be in some business, you need to know what kind of rewards you're going to get out of it, and if you really can get hungrier than what you are to get that reward, and all that sort of stuff. Now I can let you realize that unless you quicken your pace, unless you get more aggressive, unless you go and just attack and overcome a fear, Most people, I don't know anybody. I've never sold. I'm afraid to contact that person. I'm afraid they'll tell me no. All those simple little things. Aggressiveness is to just blow by it, and teach them ways to deflect it. Teach. It's like a running back. If you teach a good running back in football how to kind of spin or twist or turn, where when the guy hits you, he never hits you solid. He just glances off of you and you go forward. Yeah, you got hit, but you didn't get hit head on like a truck running over you that shortens your career.
You rolled over. Well,
and too many people get out there and what we call the scenario of disaster. They're brand new at something, especially if they're in sales or they're trying to learn a new sales skill. They're trying to call somebody, trying to set up an appointment, and nobody's coached them. They just went out there. They're so enthusiastic. They're so hungry, and kaboom! They say all the wrong things. What happens is they get hit right in the face with no. People start asking them questions. They make the mistake, start trying to answer questions, and next thing you know, they forgot who asked who, and they're blown out of the business. And it's because the best way to help people become aggressive is to match them up with aggressive people. And they can pick up those. They can watch and they can pick up those skill sets from them. And somebody, anyway, whatever it takes for you to develop some aggressiveness, you really need to do it. You need to be bold. I was looking here, a lot of people know I've studied a lot about Alexander the Great here. And it talks about it says Alexander's attack attitude. This was his attack attitude. He had extraordinary boldness, he had flexibility of mind, and he had a quickness of decision, amongst a lot of other things. But he was bold. He knew the enemy was out there. It was a risk reward type thing. He knew how to take a risk when the reward was low risk, high reward. So anyway, I just think without aggressiveness, that 90 some odd percent of the businesses are going to fail, and there's a lot of reasons they fail, but every one of them could be tied back to aggressiveness. To
do it right. You have a word you call the firing habits. Like how do you develop a firing habit, which I assume you mean to do it, right? To do it, just do it, just shoot, just aim and shoot. And don't be afraid. Do it with aggressiveness, and that activity is going to lead to the knowledge you need to go to the next step.
Well, when I first started in business, I had heard that you're supposed to say ready, aim, fire. That's what they'll instruct you if you're going to shoot a rifle. Yeah. Well, so I was going to try to follow ready, aim, fire. Then all of a sudden I realized how great this market was and how much potential it was, and that I had a really good system, and that I knew something other people didn't. So I skipped the ready. I just sort of stayed ready, and then from now on I said aim, fire, And then I've done it for so long now. As I'm building my new company, we skip the ready and the aim. We just fire, and that's aggressiveness. There you
go. That's where the firing habit came from. Just act.
It's to do it. Art Williams talks about that. His famous speech was the do it speech. Yeah. Do it. Do it.
I just find very interesting how most of the people I come across, and I don't know if it happened to you, but a lot of people I come across is they want to wait till they have all the fact, they have all the information, they have all the research, they have everything. Like if that was going to give them the aggressiveness that they need, and I see the opposite really happens, where they actually never finish reading or getting ready, and there are some others that just fire, and they get the results.
Well, they're forever learning and never doing. Most of them know more than they're willing to do, and it to me, it depends upon what business you're in. There's some businesses that require precision, exactness, criticality, high degree of high professionalistic stuff. That if you make a mistake, it could kill somebody, a brain surgeon or some medical equipment. That I'm not talking about. I'm talking about if you're an entrepreneurial guy trying to get a business going, trying to get customers, trying to get ideas out in the marketplace, trying to trying to recruit people, trying to build a good, successful team.
Yeah, so you might get your feelings hurt, but you're not going to kill somebody.
Yeah, no, that's right. These are good. These are profitable mistakes. These are money-making mistakes that lead you to even bigger money-making successes that you had to have. And you got to go through it. So anybody that's sitting around waiting until they learn everything, that's just a totally opposite meaning of aggressiveness. I would call that uselessness as opposed to aggressiveness. Passive. You've heard people say passive aggressive. I don't know what that means. I don't know how you can be passive and aggressive. Sometimes they call it bipolar or something like that. Chemical type of situations. I understand there is clinical depression and things of that nature. You have real highs and then big lows, but that's for doctors to diagnose. That's in a more medical world there. I'm speaking now, and you can't be passive aggressive. You're either with me or you're against me. You either like a Top Gun pilot. You're either going ballistic or you're crashing and burning. There is no. A Top Gun pilot doesn't fly around like a Delta pilot on autopilot. He's there for a reason.
Totally. A whole different set of maneuvers. One of the things I find interesting too is that I see a lot of people like quiet. Sometimes when you mention you've got to be aggressive, it kind of maybe I make that mistake just thinking that it's somebody who's got that sort of an aggressive attitude, who is like a very loud type of person, very extroverted. But I've seen, especially in your organization, you have some of the most quiet people be the most aggressive. Like they right. Walk quiet but carry a big stick.
That's right.
Because they're in action, and it's not that you got to be an aggressive person. You just have to be aggressive in your action. And I just find sometimes the most introverted people have the best result, and they are the ones who take the most action, which is surprises.
All aggressiveness that we're talking about here today is just the aggressive implementation of success steps that are expected for you to do at the time that you're supposed to do them. You know what I mean? You sometimes you have to have a lot of patience to do something at the right time, do it the right way. You got enough preparation, and then go boom. You go have a decisive strike, a very aggressive. But when that moment comes, it's like there's something we talk about, the 8 principles of warfare. I think I'd love for us to have a podcast on that one time about the 8 principles of warfare. And number 3 is one of the most important ones. It says, concentrate your greater strength at the decisive point. So what you got to do is you got to get everything ready. You got to get it compressed, get it ready, get your team ready, your army ready, your ideas ready, your campaign ready, whatever it is. You get it all ready, and at a strategic point, you have aggressiveness. You go right at it, and that's so. Yeah, it has nothing to do with just you don't want to stay in somebody's face and be rude to people and all that kind of stuff. That's not what that means. We're talking about financially successful business aggressiveness is what we're talking about here.
Yeah, you don't want to go just recklessly just take all kinds of stupid actions without, at least a little bit of, you know where you're going, right? At least you know what you're kind of, you say aim and fire, not maybe leave the ready to decide here, just more aim and fire. And if you really know, like you said in a little while ago, once you know you're in the best opportunity in the right place, just fire, take action. Which, leads back to one of the things you said back in the day that I use a lot in my everyday entrepreneurial career here, which is, action will always lead to knowledge and not the other way around. I don't know if those are the exact words, but that helped me always take action, to be aggressive in action, because I know that behind that is going to be the learning that I need to be able to go to the next step versus documenting so much and then waiting to act. And a lot of people also act, if we were to act just on maybe we don't have a lot of information, but it's more than enough to take action or act on, and we would have more result than the people that have a lot of knowledge but lack the aggressiveness, which is the action.
Right. Well, you've heard this saying about that an imperfect plan that's violently, and I would even say aggressively executed right now at the decisive moment is much better than a perfect plan that's delayed too late.
I think the message is clear for today. So aggressiveness is really, if we develop that skill, that ability, and we're hearing from a legend in business, Mr. Hubert Humphrey, how that being aggressive in his business has enabled him to build 2 multi-billion-dollar market cap companies on his way to building the third, which I am proudly part of. And I want to invite you to check out what the opportunity is all about, which ties in right into the sponsorship. Hegemon Group International is the sponsor of this podcast. Without their support, this wouldn't be possible. So I want you to go and check out what the best opportunity in America is today, which is the HGI opportunity. Where do you find more information? At HGIopportunity.com. That's HGIopportunity.com. Get in the right vehicle that can help you go from where you are now to where you want to be. If you want to develop the aggressiveness, I would say, skill, well, that is the great platform to be able to do that. It's going to change your life forever, not only in this opportunity, but in anything that you do in life. So HGIopportunity.com, go there now, check it out. And Hubert, I think we'll wrap it up for today with this aggressiveness title that we spoke about today. And we'll see you in the next podcast.
All right, Carpe Diem, seize the day. We'll see you at the top.
Let's go.
Warning, this podcast may change the way you think about business, entrepreneurship, and money forever. The Conquistador Podcast was created for dreamers, entrepreneurs, and leaders who want to conquer their future. To be an epic entrepreneur, you must adopt the right mental paradigms as well as master the art of selling, marketing, and finance.